Hello. It's me, Henry. This is a response video to Gigguk's explaining Fate video. I hear he's doing another one. I'm looking forward to that. But essentially, I've always heard that I've seen the video multiple times by now, but I've always wanted to actually say the short version of Fate. And I understand, there is confusion about the Fate franchise. Trust me. But I just wanted to throw my 2 cents into the conversation, and I hope to get people actually conversing about the series. But yeah, Fate is a great series to me. I've been there since almost the beginning. I actually saw Fate Stay Night, the Dean version. Yeah, this is real. This is a real DVD set from way back in the day. I think I got this off of eBay. Yeah, Fate. That's Fate Stay Night, the original, the Dean Stay Night version. Anyway, but yeah, no, I wanted to set the record straight about the short version of Fate. Now, Fate is a convoluted mess that really kind of doesn't do itself any services or favors by being as big as, well, that's my kitten. I have a cat now. I shouldn't say kitten. It's anyway. If you hear, I apologize. I had to close her off from the room because she was in my lap and interrupting me. Her name is Simmons, and I love her. But yeah, no, Fate. The Fate series as a whole is actually fairly simple when you get down to brass tacks. Now, the grander multiverse is admittedly confusing, especially the PSP games. When people think of confusion, they usually just mean those specifically, because they have moon-based problems that don't belong anywhere near cohesion. If you're confused by that, you're thinking, what's so confusing about the moon? I'm probably never going to talk about it, but the real short version is the moon has a sentient mind and is also a computer that is digitized like servants and historical figures, and they have their own Holy Grail war. It's stupid and amazing, and I wish they would remake the PSP games already so that I can play them. That being said, the short version of Fate is that the Fate, there's only one real cohesive timeline in the entirety of the Fate franchise. There's only one Fate series in the Fate franchise. It is Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, Fate Unlimited Blade Works, and Heaven's Feel. These are the only things that have any continuity with each other in their entirety. These are the only things you technically need to know to have a cohesive story in between series. Now, Fate Zero is a great place to start. I started way back in the day with Stay Night. Not the worst decision back then, but in retrospect, it's not. I have things to say about Dean Stay Night that will remain silent in this video. But essentially, the animation was crap, and the English dub was even crappier, if you can believe it. So I do recommend Dean Stay Night, if only for context. And in Fate, and in a lot of things, actually, context is almost everything. But you can technically skip it for Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel. It is not technically required reading or watching material. But if I'm being honest, I've recently rewatched this, and it still surprised me at how much the romance between Saber and Shiro actually got to me. Like, I knew it was coming, too. I've seen this before, multiple times, actually. And it's still got me that the emotional core of the story is still pretty good. I would recommend watching it Japanese subbed, but it still got me. I actually kind of teared up a little bit at the end. But let's talk about something else. Now, everything else in the Fate series, again, this is supposed to be the short version. Everything else in the Fate series is not the series. Everything else is in the Fate franchise. There is a distinction, and I hope everyone knows that. Again, Unlimited Blade Works, Stay Night, Zero, and Heaven's Feel are part of the series. Everything else is just a subsidiary of the franchise, something that has no tangential, anything related to what has this. Are we still on the same page? Because it is going to be a little confusing, but not by much. Not by much. If people can follow the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and all the Marvel crap these days, they can follow the Fates franchise. And they can follow the Kingdom Hearts franchise too, but that's a different story. Don't worry. Not in this video. Not in this video. Now then, let's talk about Apocrypha. One of my personal favorites from an animation standpoint. I'll admit the story's not the best, but it's leagues better than some others. Looking at you, Ilias Veal. But Fate Apocrypha, great segue, because this has nothing, except for the Holy Grail itself, but that's in every Fate thing. This has nothing to do with Stay Night, Zero, Unlimited Blade Works, and Heaven's Feel. This is its own universe. It does not have Shiro, Emiya, Rin, Tosaka, none of that. None of it. Stop it. It doesn't even have Artoria as the main servant. It's actually her son, Mordred. It's actually a lot different. If you ever thought, what about these historical figures? Maybe I want to just turn my brain off and just watch a lot of explosions and maybe a few historical figures that, I may know of that are different from the main franchise. Apocrypha. Definitely for you. This is essentially a blockbuster popcorn movie series that, honestly, again, the story could have been better, but I still love the characters in this. I still love the animation in this. I still love 2/3 of the cast. And I can watch it in English. But yeah, no. A totally separate universe, totally separate timeline from the main timeline, which is, again, Zero, Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, and Heaven's Feel. Totally different. And you can say that for every other thing of Fate. Even something like FGO, Fate Grand Order. I play a lot of Fate Grand Order. I'm a Fate fan. So, yeah, I have a free-to-play account. And yes, it is a gacha game, but it's very free-to-play friendly. Not that I'm trying to sell you on it, but yeah, it has nothing to do with any of that. The only required reading is if you want to get context for almost anything, is, again, these two things have nothing in common with each other except the Holy Grail War. And even then, the concept of the Holy Grail War in the Apocrypha series is actually even different in that one. Like, even that's not really one-to-one. So you don't need to see one over the other to enjoy both. And even if you have seen one or the other, then that would actually, in my opinion, just enhance your experience. Because you're like, oh, they changed that, but that's the same? Only, what? It is a bit confusing at first, but again, nothing more than the Multiverse of Madness could ever throw at you, or Everything at Once movie with the... Anyway. But any multiversal thing is just a day in the life in the Nasuverse or the Fate series franchise. So yeah, no. That's basically all you need to know about the Fate franchise as a whole. Nothing is connected except the main timeline. The PSP games, CCC, and I can't remember the other one, and the Extella games are technically connected. If I, a funny story, little anecdote. I started and this was extremely stupid. But I look back on it fondly. I caught up relatively fast. But I started playing Fate Extella The Umbral Star, which is a PS4 game. I think it's also on the Switch. And it's actually a sequel to the PSP games. They have continuity, but again, it's a completely separate entity from Stay Night and even Apocrypha. Like, these are still separate. You don't need to know one to understand the other. Now, granted, if you start with the Umbral Star, the Extella series, you're going to be shit out of luck, my friend. You're going to have a bad time because it doesn't tell you a damn thing. Wikipedia is your friend, and so is the wiki. Excuse me. But yeah, no, that's the short version, the honest to God short version of the Fate franchise. Everything is a different universe or dimension. Everything has its own scaling timeline. The only thing that you ever really need to know is that the original timeline is just a cohesive, and it's not. I say cohesive storyline, but you can watch them out of order. The Unlimited Blade Works, Stay Night, and Heaven's Feel are just three different timelines. But they're occupying the same. I don't want to confuse anyone who doesn't understand. It's just another. You'll enjoy them and get more out of them if you see them in succession. I'll just say it that way. Fate Zero is a great place to start. Honestly, anywhere is a great place to start. If I could recommend anything, I would actually start with the Apocrypha series, if only because you get to see cool people doing cool shit, blowing things up with swords, sorcery. Like, if you ever had that one D&D campaign where everything just shot off and you hit the ground running, I don't know. I think the ending and some of the characters aren't the best, and I think the story could have been better in some areas. But overall, this package is a recommendation for me. And to a certainly lesser extent, I would argue, and I'm arguing very hard here, that the Dean Stay Night is not the best. But it's certainly better than nothing. And until they remake the Fate Stay Nights route with better animation and a much better voice acting cast than the early 2000s, I think this was 2004. Oh my god. I feel old. Until they do that, maybe stay away from Stay Night. But again, context. Context is everything in this series. And again, Fate Grand Order is by itself. Maybe take the hat off. Fate Grand Order itself is not the worst way to go. It doesn't explain, again, it has nothing to do with everything that's come before, but it explains the Fate premise enough for new people to be like, oh, that's what they're doing. Okay, yeah, and you might actually find that it's your favorite version of the medium because every character, both old and new, kind of goes through Fate Grand Order. It's kind of like, okay, you see Saber right here? Yeah, she's in the game. She's in Fate Grand Order. Mordred right here and all the other characters here? Yeah, they're in the game. You can play as them. You can get these characters. And they're actually pretty cool and powerful. And they can do almost everything they do in here. But yeah, no. Honestly, Gigguk said it best. Do whatever you think is cool. If whatever gets you in the franchise, I highly recommend. There is no wrong answer when it comes to Fate. Again, even in the main timeline, I would recommend watching Fate Zero first. I know it spoils some things in Fate Stay Night, but tomato. You got to start somewhere. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Anyway, just do what you think is cool, man. And hey, the Fate franchise is not for everyone. If you don't want to watch it because, you don't like the historical fiction aspect, and they change a lot of things. Oh, King Arthur is a woman. They do that a lot in the Fate series, but that's part of the charm, in my opinion. I don't know. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents, and this was the short version. And essentially, it does come down to basically action figures just fighting each other, and that's fine, honestly. Sometimes that's all you need. Who doesn't want to see King Arthur fighting the world's first historically fictional hero, Gilgamesh? It happens. I'm not going to say how, but it happens. And that's pretty badass. So, yeah. That's the short version. I hope you enjoy your day. Leave whatever comments you have below. I am recording this on my phone. Unfortunately, my headset is completely busted and I need a new one. So I hope the audio quality is up to par. I hope it's not crap. I'm going to have to see if I need to re-record this whole thing. But anyway, that's my take on the whole Fate franchise. Franchise, not series. I'm coming, Simmons. I gotta go. Have a good day.